Hello and welcome into the 4th and 11 show with your host Jacob Steiner, and this is not the Wake and Bake show with Steven and Jake. Obviously, this is different. I haven't done a Friday show in a long time. Steven's gone. Forget about him. Forget I even said that name. He's done. Most likely never going to do one again. He chose something else to do with his life. He went to a different college. He's moved out. He's gone. And I'm going to do Fridays now. The way I want to do Fridays. Fridays. Woo! Yay, whoa. First off, we got some birthdays to announce. Obviously, some great birthdays and some, average ones. Danny Manning, Tony Parker, Matt Ryan, and Channing Frye. Happy birthday out to all of them. They have May 17th birthdays. Whoop-de freaking do. Tony Parker had a pretty good season. He's a French guy. Danny Manning, I already love that name. Kansas boy. Didn't really have the greatest NBA career, but obviously led those Jayhawks to the Final Four and to the championship. Danny and the Miracles. What a great story that was. Channing Frye is an NBA champion, and Matt Ryan, and we all remember that name. Yep. He's going to be... No one's going to let him down after the Patriots lost. No one's going to let him down. He's got to, Atlanta's got to figure out what they're going to do this year, so we'll see what happens with that. Those are your birthdays for today. So, also follow me on Twitter so you can give me some questions, some ideas for the show at Jacob Steiner. Go follow me there so you can enjoy life knowing that you have me on Twitter and you can hit me up and say, hey, talk about this, and I will try to get to you in the best way possible. If you want it on the show, tell me. If you don't, then just say you don't want it on the show, and I'll respond to you off of that. Quick and easy. That's all we got to do. So, real quick, some sports news. The Portland Trailblazers, they screwed themselves in the foot. Kevin Durant, he's out for the first 4 games. They could have already swept the season series. They could have been in the finals, but no, they go down 0-2. They go down 0-2 after a hard-fought game. They were up by 8 with like 2 minutes remaining. And, pretty sure my fat mouth was... I didn't say it out loud because I'm talking to myself. No one else was watching in the room with me. I said it in my head. I probably jinxed. I was like, yes, the Portland Trailblazers are up 8. Let's do this. 1-1. Yeah, no, that did not happen. 114, 111. Obviously, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum had pretty good games. Rodney Hood and Seth Curry had some pretty good games as well for the Portland Trailblazers. And on the other side, obviously, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry had better games in respects. And that bench with Kevon Looney and Bell were just absolutely tremendous. First off, you got to think Portland Trailblazers do not know how to guard the pick and roll, because I was like 6 buckets straight in the final few minutes, and they've done it in game 1, they've done it in game 2, they've done it mostly all season. They don't know how to guard the pick and roll. Those were just so easy passes. Oh my goodness. As soon as I saw the screen set, I was like, oh, that's a bucket. Move on. It's much better than a 3 because it's a 2. But, it's still a bucket. And if you don't get anything on the other end, it really does hurt you in a lot of different ways. Golden State winning that one. Nothing really much to talk about that one. Also, the Bucks and Milwaukee, they are the same team. Milwaukee and Toronto game 2 on tonight. Bucks lead that 1-0. And we'll see if Kyle Lowry can still come out and put up a show. He had 30 points in the last game. We'll see what he brings out this time. We'll see if Siakam can get over 15 points. We'll see if Brook Lopez shows himself again like he did in Game 1. All news. We could have sweeps on both sides, or we could have 7-game series and a 4-game series, or we could both have 7-game series, or whatever it might be the case. Portland going home unhappy. Let's see if Toronto does not do the same thing and they can steal a game on the road and take advantage of this. The Claw versus the Freak. And that will be on tonight, I think, TNT. But, hey. In other news, NHL just always gives out sweeps. Boston going to the Stanley Cup Finals for a third time since 2011. So props up to y'all. Boston just keeps winning. We can't say much about the Boston Red Sox or Boston Celtics right now, but hey, Boston Celtics, if you are hearing my podcast, you know what I said yesterday, and you know what you got to do. And I told y'all that I would look up the trade, see if it would work. We're a few million short, so Boston would have to get each one. I think, I forgot who it was. It was someone. It was someone crappy that, the Pelicans paid a whole bunch of money that they can just grab real quick and throw him on the bench, and it would just be him and Anthony Davis, plus some draft picks, plus Gordon Hayward and Jaylen Brown in that trade. And that is a successful trade, might I recall. So, hey, what can you do? There's nothing really in the sports news, not very much, besides the guy that in boxing that says if he dies, he dies. Well, hey, that's like a Mr. T and Rocky. And I'm not much on boxing, but hey, it is true. People die in boxing, and it's a rough sport. That's why not a lot of people like it anymore these days. We're growing into pacifists every single day. Everyone's growing into a pacifist. There's still some people that love violence. I know a few of them. My own dang brother. We're both opposites. I don't really do too much violence, and he does. He loves the UFC. I don't really care about it. I'll watch it, but I don't really care about it. It was a little bit of news. If he dies, he dies, and yeah, that's true. We all get the Tony Stark memes. Technically, he's correct. Yeah, he kind of is, but so not much in news, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do today, and I said, well, let me just take a look at each conference in the Division I football, and then we'll do basketball later. We'll talk about, when it's a busy day in other sports, we'll talk about something else. But when it's not like this, we're going to talk about this. Once NBA is over, we're going to get more into baseball. But, right now, college football. The schedules came out. They've been out. And we're just going to talk about it. We're going to talk about my predictions for each conference. And we're going to go into each conference each. One conference each show the show that does not have enough content already in it to make it a full show. So we're going to start off with my favorite conference, the Big 12, obviously because I'm from Texas and my family is also from Kansas and I am a Kansas fan, so it's my favorite conference, and I'm not already going to pick Kansas number one because that's stretch. We'll get into it. But I read an article last year, and it frankly was true, but it's insulting to all Kansas fans when the article says, oh yeah, Texas and Oklahoma at the top, and then it's dead race for the middle, and then you can write Kansas at the bottom. True. That writer is correct, and that's from last year. It might be correct for this year, but it hurts. It hurts. it really hurts, especially when you don't have. I mean, when a basketball team is having kind of a down year, you kind of go through the motions of like, I really wish we had football, but Les Miles could change that. And we'll see what happens. A lot of people have predicted at least 5 to 6 wins for the Jayhawks, and I will get into the Jayhawks later. But we are going to start off ranked number 1 in recruiting, the Texas Longhorns, who barely beat out the Oklahoma Sooners for the top-ranked recruiting class in the Big 12. Oklahoma had 24 recruits. Texas had 25 recruits, 2 5-stars, 15 4-stars, and 8 3-stars in there. They had a recruiting points rank of 287.42. I don't know what the rank or the points are for, but if that's the way it's going to be, and that's the way it's going to be, Oklahoma had more 5-star recruits, but we're going to get into this. Texas, Tom Herman did not get over 10 wins last year, so he struggled, but he's going to be coming back his 3rd season. Hopefully, without Maryland on the schedule, he can actually win some ball games. A little Texas humor, we all get it if you're from Texas. But they start out the schedule at Louisiana Tech. That one, that's at Texas. I was like, hold on, I'm figuring out. I'm looking at the ESPN app. I'm like figuring, it's top away or bottom away. What is this? But Texas start off at home against Louisiana Tech. They win, and I mean, I think they're going to win, and they're going to play in Austin as well against LSU the next day. LSU is tough schedule to start off with. Louisiana Tech's not a sleeper, but they are a very competitive team against a lot of, they're a Conference USA team. Don't sleep on Conference USA. They're pretty good in their own rights, but LSU, that is an ABC game. So you already know that people are going to be watching that. They're going to be cheering on the Longhorns, and I count that as an L. Big fat L, because Tom Herman has not done very well on primetime. Besides that Notre Dame game, he's done well in primetime when he was in Houston, but not at Texas. This is a different stage, but they might get the win because they're at home. But the Longhorns' early season struggles do happen, and they're good in the middle of the season, but they're bad at the beginning and they're bad at the end. The Longhorns could lose to LSU early. Then they've got Rice and Oklahoma State, both wins, I think, in their own right. So 3-1 to start out the season. So they're looking strong. But obviously, LSU loss is going to really kick them in the butt. And then they go West Virginia, Oklahoma, Kansas. That Oklahoma game is going to be a little hard, knowing that I forgot who it was. I think Jalen Hurt. That's the guy who went to Oklahoma after getting transferred from Alabama. If Jalen Hurt plays well in the first few games, Texas is definitely not going to win the Red River Shootout this year. They won it, I think, the last 2 years. So they will beat West Virginia. They'll probably lose to Oklahoma. And I'm going to hate saying this, but they're going to win against Kansas. Then they go TCU, K-State, Iowa State, Baylor, and Texas Tech. Not an easy schedule towards the end. K-State with a new head coach could look like, they might surprise some people. They didn't really have too many recruits. They are in 8th place in recruiting. No 4-stars, no 5-stars. But we know that coach. I forgot his name. He's the North Dakota State coach. Just bear with me on the names. I forget a lot of names. And I don't care about K-State as much because they are a rival. We all get it. This is unbiased sports opinions. So if you don't like my sports opinion, you can screw off. But back to this. So they're probably going to win against TCU. They're probably going to win against K-State. It's going to be a tough battle on the road against Iowa State. And then they got Baylor on the road as well. Baylor's coming on in their own respect as well. They got a 4th-ranked class, 25 commits, 22 3-stars, and 2 4-stars. So they might put on a show out there in Waco. But I think Texas, after maybe coming out losing against Iowa State, I think they would come into Baylor with a little bit of anger, or it could be the complete opposite. And they could lose 2 straight, but they're definitely going to close out the season strong and make a bowl game appearance as they beat Texas Tech. So, yeah, Texas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins. Tom Herman, man, can't get over the 10-game hump. That's only if you beat LSU and Oklahoma. I'm not predicting you to do either one of those. But we move into the next team, Oklahoma. They start off against Tom Herman's old team, Houston. We remember last time Houston took on Oklahoma, Houston won. But this is a different Houston team. They don't have Major Applewhite anymore. They have, screw this. I completely, the West Virginia guy, Dana Holberson. Yeah, that's the dude. He moved to Houston. Obviously, I think 2 straight, 3 straight, really 4 straight, 5 straight wins, 6 straight because I predicted them to beat Texas. So 6-0 to start off the season. If I'm just so stupid. Oh my goodness, Jalen Hurts. You know, a sports podcaster should know the names off the top of their heads. They should know the names off the top of their heads. But I am struggling today. It's a Friday. I usually have someone next to me, but no. Screw that. It's the 4th and 11th show on Fridays. It's new. It's brand new. I've never done this before. I've never hosted a show alone on a Friday. Well, I have, but it's been a while. It's been a while, so calm yourself. Calm yourself. We're not Monday yet. This is not a rant. We are just going to do predictions. So I think they start out actually 7-0, 8-0, basically, because K-State's not going to win. They might actually, if Jalen Hurts plays well, and this is a key word, if Jalen Hurts plays well, Oklahoma wins out. Oklahoma wins out. That is my prediction. I don't really know who they have at backup, so that's the big question. If Jalen Hurts plays well, then yeah, they don't really need another quarterback, and they can say, hey, we're winning out. We're going to the playoffs. So Oklahoma, they can win out. They got a pretty nice, easy schedule here and there. They got a few bumps in the road in Texas and Iowa State, and maybe Houston. But other than that, I don't really think they have too many bumps in the road that they can not overhandle. Oklahoma obviously getting an easy schedule, so we'll see on that part of the spectrum. Up next is the TCU Horned Frogs, who struggled a bit last year. Obviously, they didn't get any 5 stars. They got 3 4 stars and 23 3 stars as well. 26 commits. I think that's the highest. Yep. That's the most commits out of all the Big 12 teams. And they start off their schedule pretty dang easy with Arkansas Pine Puff. Who the hell are those? Who are they? It's almost like they're facing Grambling State or Prairie View A&M. And they're playing Purdue. SMU, that's another... I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I was thinking SMU was better than this, but that's not true. I'm sorry to my uncle's former team. SMU's not going to win. Then they play Kansas. That one is, no, we're not winning at TCU. So TCU might win out the first few games. Then they take on Iowa State in Ames, so I think that's an L right there. And then they struggle at K-State on the road. And then they had the Texas game, which I think Texas can come through. Then they got Oklahoma State on the road, and we all know how Oklahoma State gets on the road or at home. That's probably an L right there, is plain and obvious. And then they kind of lose one against Oklahoma at the rest of the season. So I mean, a pretty bad, I think, four or five losses at the end of the season. They start out strong, but 4 or 5 losses at the end of the season is really, really going to hurt them in the long run. So we'll see how well the TCU Horned Frogs do. I'm predicting about 5 losses. 4 or 5 losses, so they might go 7-5 or 8-4. If I am right, then damn well I am right. You should pay attention to me more. But if I'm wrong, then I'm stupid and no one should ever listen to my podcast again. But these are predictions. These are unbiased predictions. So don't get your hopes up. Baylor starts off their season pretty easy like always. They're going to go 3-0 to start out the season, and they got Iowa State at home. That's going to be a close one. If Baylor plays well, they're at home. They do have a bigger possibility of winning that one. Then they got K-State on the road, and they got Texas Tech at home. So I give K-State the win, and I give Texas Tech the loss. So after going 3-0, they win. Or after going 3-0, they lose 2 of the next 3 to go through 4-3. Why can I not speak? 4-2 to start out the season. Then they got Oklahoma State on the road. I'll make them 4-3. West Virginia probably going to make them 5-3. We're not giving West Virginia without Dana Holberson that win. And then they got TCU on the road, Oklahoma at home, Texas at home, and then Kansas on the road. Boy, senior day for the Jayhawks. That's an L. I am picking the upset. And if you were upset about that pick, then well be it. Because it's my pick, and I picked it, and it's already in. It's locked in, and I probably jinxed it, but it's fine. It's fine and dandy. Oklahoma State is the next team. They're the 5th in recruiting in the Big 12, right above Iowa State. They had 21 commits come to their school, and they started out the season with a little bit of a struggle. Oregon State, the next State, but then they got pretty easy with Tulsa or McNeese, and then Tulsa actually on the road. Oregon State on the road, so they only got 1 home game that's out of conference. So OSU not really getting too many non-conference teams to come to their stadium. So I think maybe 2 losses to start out the first 4 games because Texas is next. So 2-2 to start out the season, not bad, but not great. Oklahoma State will obviously win the next 2 against K-State and Texas Tech. Then they got Baylor. I obviously picked that one to be a loss for Baylor. Then they got Iowa State on the road, and then TCU at home. Then they got Kansas at home. Then West Virginia on the road, and Oklahoma at home. So they're probably going to go 6-6 or 5, or 6 losses or 5 losses. It's not bad, but it's not terrible. Obviously, a lot of middle of the road teams in the Big 12. If you're not Texas or Oklahoma, you're mostly middle of the road. We'll see it. We'll see it this year. A lot of teams are going to be middle of the road. Maybe even Kansas might be middle of the road. But we move into the next team, the sixth place team in the recruiting of the Big 12. They had 22 commits of Iowa State, 2 4-stars and 23 stars coming to their school. They start out their season with 2 Iowa teams. Northern Iowa, Iowa, a loss. UL Monroe comes to Iowa State. So they'll start out the season probably 2-1. Probably actually 3-1 to start out their season as Baylor, or they go to Baylor, and then they might start out 4-1, actually 5-1, maybe 6. No, Texas Tech might be a stretch. We all know Iowa State does struggle a bit, here and there. They do. I mean, they're a good team. They're going to grow. But you look at the rest of the schedule, it's going to be a tough ending. But I think Iowa State will be 8 or 9 wins, give or take, buy or sell. Screw it. Iowa State 8 wins is my prediction. 8 wins. 9 wins is the goal for them, and probably the highest. But 8 wins is, the right mark. They're not going to go over. They're not going to go over 8. They're probably not going to win 9 because you look at that schedule. It does get pretty tough there at the end. And Iowa they're respectively good, but they're not that great. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. The next team, West Virginia, the 7th place team in there. 20 commits, 2 4-stars, and 18 3-stars in that rotation. They start out their schedule with an easy one and then 2 pretty hard ones in a row. So James Madison University, you might not know them, but they're one of the best Division II. So actually, that's not a really easy game. That's difficult. So probably going to start out the season 0-3. West Virginia losing Dana Holberson. We don't really know too much about the coach, but the coaches well. Things turn around, but I don't know too much about this coach. And Iowa State, you're looking at the schedule. You're looking at your 7th place in recruiting. You only got 2 4-stars. Will Greer, he's gone. He's in the NFL. West Virginia could lose 6 or 7 games, give or take. And I probably helped them out by saying that. But, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We'll move on to the 8th place team, the one team that does not have any 4-stars. Actually, there's 2 teams that don't have any 4-stars. There's only 2 teams in this conference that don't have any 4-stars, and they're above Kansas. Kansas has a 4-star. What is this recruiting? I don't get it. I don't get these numbers and screw this. All I get is these stars and playmakers, whatever. I get it. Whatever. K-State, 22 commits. All of them, coming below the 3-stars. I think they had a 2-star in there. It only shows 5, 4, and 3. They had 21 3-stars in there. So K-State with the new head coach, they start out their season pretty dang easy, except for the Mississippi State. Mississippi State on the road might be a loss, but they get 2 easy wins against Nicholas, who did destroy my hearts last year against Kansas. Boiling Green as well. Urban Meyer's original home. And, I mean, you take a look at this. K-State is not. They're going to be good. They're going to be competitive. But under a new system, no really good recruits, K-State will struggle just like Kansas did. Kansas last year, we heard from Les Miles, we heard from other teams that Kansas is 1 or 2 recruiting classes away from being great. They were good against Oklahoma, but then they struggle at the end because they don't have very many good backups. And that will be K-State's nightmare. So they got a good coach. 5 or 6 wins, give or take. They're not going to be too great. They're not going to be too bad. This is a pretty good team from last year that didn't do too well, but didn't do too terrible. K-State obviously does have the 2 pretty much easy given wins at the beginning of the season. So we'll see what happens. K-State, I don't really have too much hopes on you. But for down the line, the Kansas State Sunflower Showdown. Yes, fans, it's called the Sunflower Showdown. A pretty boring name. It's going to be bigger here now, and once Les Miles, and I forgot the guy's name again, the K-State head coach from North Dakota State. Once they get recruiting, once they get guys in there, it's going to look better for a Sunflower Showdown. It's going to be like what we had in 2008, where Kansas was competitive and K-State was ranked, and it was a good game. We haven't had that many Sunflower Showdowns that were that great until this year in basketball. But it don't matter. Texas Tech is the next team to go through. They lost a terrible coach, Cliff Kingsbury. So they start off their season pretty easy. Actually, I'm fully ready to see Arizona, Texas Tech. I think, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do math. One of my friends that played basketball with him in high school, 2 years below me, he was a sophomore when I was a senior. Grant Gunnell, shout out to you. You played Texas Tech at Arizona under Kevin Sumlin. So hopefully you can win. I know he's a great quarterback. I know he's going to be pretty good. We'll see what he can do at the college level. I don't know if he's going to start. But if he does, Texas Tech's not going to be that great of a team. So I think Texas Tech might just lose 8 or 9 games. And they're in recruiting. They're rebuilding season. They're trying to get back to the way they were in a while ago. 2008, 2009 season when they faced Texas. And I think they won. But that was a while ago. So, and guess who's next? And guess who was really, really good in the 2008 season? As 2008, 2007, whatever. It doesn't freaking matter. Football is a weird sport. It starts in one year and it ends in another. It don't freaking matter. But Les Miles comes in, 2 easy straight games, Indiana State and Coastal Carolina, and I'm not ruling those off as a win because Kansas has had problems against easy opponents. Nichols last year. But this is a better play caller. I'm not going to sit here and say 3rd or 1st and 10 and we're throwing, or 1st and 10 from the from our own 20-yard line, and we're throwing the ball 50 yards down the field. Excuse me, David Beatty, you need to rethink your offense. First play of the game, you don't throw it 50 yards down the field on double coverage. I know that's your game plan, but it's not going to work. You've seen it work 3 years. How many wins did you have? Nothing. Kansas is probably going to be 6 wins. I'm calling it 6 wins. the low point 4 wins. That's better than we were last year. Better than we were a year before. The year before, it's like the first. I don't know. Will we get to double digit wins under Les Miles? I think we will. In a few years, yeah. I mean, if you get some good recruits, yeah. But, I mean, we'll see. Kansas is looking up. They had 18 recruits, 1 4-star, 16 3-stars. And we'll see what happens in this football season. This has been the 4th and 11 show. I will not be here next week. I will be out of state. I will be gone. And this is not a radio station where someone will come in and fill in for me. So y'all are going to have to deal with it. Me being gone for a week. I hope that y'all can live without me. I can't live without this microphone. It's going to be a hard week for me. But we will both get through it, and we will see you the week after. Hopefully things have changed in the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals, and more things have happened in the news that we can go through, and we can have better talks. This has been a wonderful, longer show. But this has been the 4th and 11 show, a weird 4th and 11 on Friday. Y'all have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your morning.